Good day. My name is Oko Francis and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel. Today is a great day in that I will begin a series of discussions that will be exposing underperforming companies in Nigeria. Now in Nigeria alone, Nigeria has several companies within it operating within Nigeria. And those companies and those institutions actually belong to one industry or the other. Now what you have to understand is this: we will be looking at those industries, select few, and evaluating those industries and selecting the underperforming companies within those industries. And today we'll be starting with the telecommunication industry. Now the telecommunication industry is a growing industry that has a lot of potentials. Now, in Nigeria alone, Nigeria has the largest market size in Africa of over 172 million plus subscribers. And the telecommunication market in Nigeria is valued at $9.1 billion. That is the market value. And this is expected to grow at a rate of 4.6% between 2022 to 2027. Now, what you have to understand is this. Now, having a CAGR of 4.6% is considered good for large cap companies. Now, the question now goes though, so what is telecommunication? Now, telecommunication basically is transmission of what messages electronically. Now, you need an electronic device to actually transmit messages electronically. Now, those electronic devices that we know about, we have the mobile phone. Now, the mobile phone, I have one, you have one. I communicate with you, you communicate with me. Now, that is not possible. That would not be possible if we do not have a service provider. We have to be connected to a service provider for us to communicate. Now, that is where these service providers come in. Now, these service providers, of which we know them as telecommunication companies, we have in Nigeria. We have several, but we have four major. Why are they called major? Because they control the market share in Nigeria. Now, when I say market share, I'm talking about subscribers. They actually have more subscribers than any other within Nigeria. Now, who are these major telecommunication service providers? Now, number one, we have MTN. Number two, we have Globacom. Number three, we have Airtel. And number four, we have 9mobile. These are the four major telecommunication service providers we have in Nigeria. Now, that is their classification. Now, let's come to my own classification. Now, my classification goes thus. Number one, we have the super major, which is the MTN. Number two classification, we have the majors, we have Globacom and we have Airtel. And number three classification, we have the minuscule service provider, and that is the 9mobile network. Now, that is my own classification. Now, I want us to now look at the performances of these service providers. But before we go into this performance of these service providers, I'd like you to understand that these service providers provide services. Now, these services they provide three major services. One, they provide voice services. Number two, they provide data services. And number three, they provide value-added services. Your ability to borrow and pay at any time is one of those value-added services they provide. Now, I want us to look at the performances of these telecommunication service providers. What have been their performances over the years? Now, the performances will be looked at in terms of their revenue growth and in terms of their customer growth. Now, revenue growth for MTN is over $4.5 billion for revenue growth alone, which is outstanding, honestly. Now, let's look at the revenue growth for Globacom and for Airtel combined. They have a combined revenue growth of over $3 billion combined. Now, let's look at the revenue growth for 9mobile. Revenue growth for 9mobile basically is minuscule, which is below $500 million. Now, that tells you that there is a difference between a super major and a minuscule. That is why I categorize them that way. Now, let's look at the customer growth. Now, customer growth over the years has been on the increase. There was a decline for MTN at one point, but they actually picked up the pace again, and they constantly became number one based on innovation and based on consistency and delivery of good quality services. And you cannot forget investment in infrastructure, because investment in infrastructure will definitely pave the way for giving and providing quality services to the customers. Now, customer growth for MTN alone is above 80 million subscribers. They have 18 million subscribers above. Now, for Globacom has 60.29 million subscribers. Then for Airtel has over 60 million subscribers. But for 9mobile, 9mobile has just below 13 million subscribers, about 12.85 million subscribers. Now that tells you, that shows you the difference between a super major, a major, and a minuscule service provider, a minuscule network. Now, this is not to, insult or to denigrate any network, but this is just to put out there the reasons, put out there the underperforming companies we have in that industry, and they are doing nothing to actually upgrade or better themselves. Now, I want us to understand this. Now, I made mention of MTN's thrive for innovation, their thrive for their consistency. Now, the same you can also say for Globalcom. Globalcom has consistently been consistent, and they've constantly thrived on innovation and invested heavily in infrastructure. Now, when you invest in infrastructure, that will help in the provision of quality services. Now, there's something I also want us to understand. I made mention they provide three services. Now, voice call services, that's data services and value-added services. Now, MTN has the widest coverage in Nigeria in that it provides the best voice service you can find in Nigeria, followed by Airtel, followed by Globalcom, then followed by 9mobile. Now, MTN provides you with the best, and that is where they make most of their revenue from. Most of the revenue is generated from their voice services, which is fantastic. Now, I want you to understand something. You understand that 9mobile is minuscule, MTN is super major, Globalcom and Airtel a major. Now, the difference is very clear, and is very clear to everyone out there listening to me right now. Now, you ask yourself the question, why is 9mobile a minuscule network? I'll give you the reasons, my own reasons why I believe 9mobile is a minuscule network and will remain a minuscule network if they don't improve on those things I'll be talking about. Number one, they lack infrastructure. They lack infrastructure. 9mobile lacks quality infrastructure, equipment, software, hardware, infrastructure. They lack it. And they are not investing enough in infrastructure. And also, I believe, number two is the in-house decisions. Now, when I talk about in-house decisions, I'm talking about the priority. Now, the company, are they really prioritizing investing in voice and data quality of service in those services? Are they really trying to invest in trying to better those services, or they have other priorities that they are actually investing in, that they are seeing more revenue streams from, other than the other ones that I mentioned? Now, that also shows you that in-house priority, the decisions that they make within the boardroom matters a lot. And also, I'll talk about the innovation. They lack innovation. They lack critical thinking. They lack innovation. They lack the ability to bring out services that would actually entice customers. Now, how can you entice customers if you do not have a wide coverage, and if you don't have a very good data service, and if you don't have a consistent network all over the country? Or even within a state, have a consistent network, have a consistent base network within a state. That would actually be of immense advantage to 9mobile. So 9mobile lack innovation, they lack the investment strategy of investing in infrastructure, investing in quality infrastructure that would actually help in the delivery of quality service. So that is why 9mobile is a minuscule network, and MTN is a super major because of investment. Now, you cannot go anywhere within this market, within this industry, without proper investment. This industry has to do with consistency. It has to do with investment. If you lack investment in infrastructure, then definitely you'll be on the decline, because if you're unable to provide your customers services, they would actually leave, and that is what has been happening. 9mobile over the decade, in the last decade, have lost customers, and they are still losing customers. And it has been said in a survey online that definitely 9mobile might cease to exist in the next 10 years. Honestly, they might cease to exist. Either there's a name change, either there's a new acquisition, or either they just completely fold up, or either they completely divert into their priority, probably the 9 PSB, Probably that's their priority. I don't know. So either they completely divert to that and leave the service and leave the voice and data services out of the frame and just face that particular service. If they don't do that, probably they might do that, or they might just cease to exist in totality. So all I'm saying here is not to denigrate any network service, any network provider. No, all I'm doing here is just to educate our people more and to make them know that yes, that they can be heard and they actually decide who and whom to actually bank on. So for 9mobile, they can improve. But there's something about 9mobile that impresses me, their customer service. Their customer service representative, when you speak to any one of them, they are very impressive. And that is what Airtel lacks. So if I'm to rate customer service experience, I believe I will rate 9mobile the best, followed by MTN, followed by Globacom, then followed by Airtel. Airtel, honestly, have a very bad customer care representation. They don't represent well and they are impatient to listen to you who actually is bringing the problem that needs a solution. So all I'm trying to do here is to create an awareness that we the people must be heard, and this is the beginning of that awareness. So I want you all to subscribe to my to my channel, like the video, push the notification button, and I want you all to stay tuned for next videos that will be coming out. And there's something you can also do. Within the comment section, you could just actually type in the industry you want me to discuss next. Then I will discuss the industry and I will do justice to it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.